What's up, everybody? Welcome to the first edition of Down South Sports Fanatics Podcast. I am joined by my boy Pancho Gonzalez,
What's up? What's up? What's up?
Mr. Chris Knows H-Town Chris.
Welcome back, Justin Verlander.
And my boy straight up Dave Robin.
What's going on, man?
What's up,
Cubs
fellas?
taking
What's
some
up?
names
What's up?
tonight,
What's
bro.
up? Hey, what y'all doing, brother?
Not much, man. I just see the left side of Chris's chest. That's all I see over there. What it says on the left side of your chest?
What is
You staring at his chest, huh, man? I see what's going on here.
he?
We're only 30 seconds into the episode and some weird stuff's happening.
Everything's happening weird tonight, y'all.
Woo!
So what's going on, fellas?
No,
Oh, man.
Off season, man. Coming back for the training camp, man. It's finally NFL season now.
I tell you what, man, I went out there Saturday. It was hot. I seen Pancho out there, man. It was so hot. Good night.
Y'all brave souls, man. I did that a couple times, and I'm like, dude, I'm good. I'll wait till the season or something. But
What?
hey, look, more power, man, to the people that went out there. Y'all brave.
That was right.
It's a certain kind of a fan, to go hang out,
I hear you, man. I guess the super fans, I guess, right? Shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know that. So, Chris, what's going on with your Texas, bro? You checking in on them or what? What's good? How's the camp?
Camp is going pretty good. One guy that's kind of surprised me today was, oddly enough, was Davis Mills, man.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's camp though, so don't get too excited.
Right.
But yeah, it's camp. You're gonna have a lot of unknown name players start balling out.
Yeah, I was checking. I was making sure that was a QT back there behind you. I was making sure that wasn't.
No, matter of fact, your favorite football player, wide receiver, just scored a touchdown for your Saints, man.
Hey, y'all, look, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I think we're excited for training camp to come back, but most of it is so irrelevant. And I'm sorry, I know somebody will challenge me on that topic, but dude, so many years we've seen the Andy Tanners, Brandon Colemans, Emmanuel Butlers, and people get excited at practice. And like Allen Iverson said, it's just practice, dude. When they start doing that in the preseason, that's when I'll take notice. But it is good to see football back and to see our guys on the field and healthy. That's a big part of everything for me, is just being healthy, no injuries. Michael Thomas out there, I'm feeling good about that in itself.
I look forward to when they put the pads on. I really do. You know,
right?
I mean, that's
when you start finding the gems at that point, Rich.
Because I mean, anybody can practice in shorts and t-shirts.
Absolutely.
You can't really when you put the pads on. Guys get slow down, and you look at different things with techniques with the linemen and defensive linemen. Different formations.
I'm definitely going to challenge the whole preseason, this whole training camp don't matter, because, I mean, you got guys like Michael Lewis that made their livelihood off of training camp.
That's cool, but I'm going to say this. Until we saw Marcus Colston in preseason and Chris Ivory and Willie Snead and guys like that, win jobs, Taysom Hill, I think it's more like, to me, I want to see it in the preseason game action because people were going nuts. I mean, Emmanuel Butler was like supposedly setting off fireworks, catching, balls over 6 defenders. And then this dude gets in a preseason game and does absolutely nothing after we heard about him all camp long. I guess that's kind of what I'm alluding to there. I mean, so many camp, wonders that never pan out in the preseason.
But then you got your Chris Ivory's and you got your
Oh yeah, but they do it in preseason games. Like you can watch that guy in the preseason and say, "Hey, this dude just went off for a 40-yard run, ran over somebody," or
practice,
man. I'm just saying, like, practice is practice.
No, I know, like, practice.
Practice is practice. Like Allen Iverson said, we're talking about practice.
Well, you got to think about it like this too. Remember Marcus Colston? He had the worst camp of anybody.
Exactly. We've heard Jameis having great camps, and I mean, look how that turned out. But I'm just saying, like, we've had like all these. I had to go there just to get it out of the way. But I'm just saying, there's always the camp thing. To me, it's good to see guys healthy. I think that's all you're looking for is health. And you want to see guys get into shape. I mean, Adrian Peterson looked like the best guy in a backfield that had Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara in 2017. And how long did AP stay on the roster for? And while Ingram and, AK went to have like one of the best seasons in history for a Saints duo at running back, So, I mean, I don't put too much stock into it, man, honestly.
What you think, Chris? What you saying, buddy?
I kind of agree with both. I mean, it's important for those guys to get reps in. I think fans are just so hungry to watch football. There's always going to be overreaction,
Yeah.
Right.
It's just fun to watch football again. And there are from time to time some studs that pop out of camp. I mean, it's just good to give them some reps and it is just practice. But I mean, I agree with both of them, to be honest.
I'm just talking about taper and expectations. I'm not saying it doesn't mean anything, but when I see a guy do it in week 1 and week 2 in the preseason, it puts me on to that player at that point in time. Like right now, practice is great, but it doesn't mean anything.
What's up, Karen? What's up, Kenny? What's up, y'all?
It gives you the chance to see what guys like your Taysom Hill can do in practice. If you don't practice it, you don't know what.
It starts there. I mean, that's not what I'm trying. I mean, it starts there, but I don't get excited if a guy catches a 70-yard touchdown in practice. If he does it in preseason and starts doing it consistently, that's when I start getting tuned on. I mean, I know some people might disagree, but that's just the way. I'm not saying practice means nothing. It just doesn't mean the same thing as doing it in preseason.
Go ahead, Pancho.
To me, it's like when I practice for me when I go, it's like a game inside of a game. So I'll look up for matchups. It's Mike Thomas and Lattimore going heads up, mano, and they know it's competition for them. That's the fun stuff you get to see. You don't get to see that in the game. You get to see that in practice.
True.
No, I'm not doubting that aspect, Pancho.
Jordan heads up on Ranchick and just try to see who can eat who's lunch just for competition fun of it.
Well, absolutely. Yeah. You got to get to that. I mean, it's great the guys are pushing each other. That has to happen. I mean, it starts in training camp, no doubt about it.
Guys like Richie and guys who go there, that's why they build their yearly foundation is from training camp. They get their hype and they say, they get eyes on certain people because they've seen them live in person before anybody else has.
That's what it looks like. There's a disjointed track record to that,
If they don't play in the game, you don't get to see them at all because you never went to the practice to see who did what. So you only get to see who they get to show you. So
right. No, I get that, man. But to me, it's still at the end of the day, when you don't produce in preseason, what happened to Emmanuel Butler, Brandon Coleman, those guys, Adrian Arrington, they had great camps, but they didn't make the team. You know what I'm saying? Guys like Chris Ivory made the team. Guys like Marcus Golson. Like preseason is where it's all at. This is the beginning. Don't get me wrong. But it's all about what you do in preseason games. You're not winning a job in what you do only in camp. You got to show out in the preseason games if you're a guy that's a bubble player. That's my opinion. I'm not saying it's not important, but I'm just saying I think we've got to taper our expectations.
I think that's go ahead, Pancho, go ahead.
Who won the job in camp over in Carolina over Andy Dalton? Off of practice.
Well, I mean, Bryce Young's going to be the quarterback. He was pick number 1. They gave up the farm to get him. I mean, he's going to be the quarterback. That's not that. I mean, I'm saying, but Pancho, let's be real. If Bryce Young comes out in preseason and lays an egg 2 or 3 straight weeks, and Andy Dalton looks incredible, things could definitely change. I mean, position battles aren't won and lost in training camp. They're won and lost throughout the entire preseason process.
Listen, I think the main battle in camp is everybody getting out of it healthy.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like that's what I mean. It's important, but it's not like going to decide any positions.
I put my crooked finger on it. It's because Jameis Winston beat out Taysom Hill last year in preseason in training camp. So that's let's go to that. Let's allude to that for a second. That happened. You know when that happened? That happened in the preseason game with Jacksonville. Sean Payton laid it out. Hey, whoever wins tonight is my quarterback. That was said prior to that game. It wasn't in camp back in early August.
Yeah,
it was at the end of preseason.
I mean, that's a good speech, but I mean,
I don't know why, but why is it a speech though? I mean, at that point they were neck and neck.
But I will tell you this though, Dave. Look, when I went out that Saturday, I don't know if Pancho noticed this. I think Carr and Jameis Winston, they kind of had an off day. The rookie looked really good.
Oh, Jacob, yeah, Jake Haener, man, yeah.
Jake Haener.
Big throws. He's got a lot of big throws in him, and he's making them.
Pancho, did you notice the accuracy with Jake Haener? I mean, it was man.
They said it was almost. But the point is, he's 5'8", 5'9".
They got him listed at 6 foot, which I don't think that's true. I think he's kind of the same height as Drew Brees, if you ask me. And he kind of reminded me of Drew Brees with the pocket awareness, the ball throw, the accuracy. I mean, it was mirror image of me. I mean, that's just my opinion.
I mean, Mike Patillier, which I listen to on a regular, he says he's been next to each one of them, and he says that's not even close. Jacob Payne is way shorter than Drew Brees.
Well, I mean, right now, look at the top quarterbacks in the league right now. They're not.
If he's there, I'm good with it. Let him run. I
mean, at this point though, Pancho, you can't look. I get it. Everybody wants that 6'5", 6'8" guy, you know. But right now, if you look at the top quarterbacks in the league, most of them are under 6'2".
Yep. No, I get it.
You know, I mean,
I'm not for or against. I just know, in the days I've been there, and the other stuff,
and another thing I noticed too, Dave and Chris, they are using Kamara at the wide receiver position a lot.
That makes sense. I mean, he's a guy that's had quite a few seasons. I think what was it, 2 or 3 seasons over 80 catches. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, you got a little more depth in the backfield now, so why not?
And it could be to get Jamal Williams acclimated to the offense. It could be that too.
Right.
But
yeah,
I've been to several camps with Kamara, and I'm gonna tell you right now, this is the most I've seen him work at receiving ever.
Yeah. Hey, look, dude, Jamal Williams, he doesn't like beignets, but man, I like the guy, man, I do.
Go ahead, Chris.
They're funnel cakes, by the way.
Yeah, funnel cakes Williams. That's gonna be our nickname we got to create for this guy.
I tell you, that's just. I mean, that's something he said, and I think people are blowing that out of proportion. Did you hear?
Oh, it's funny. It's funny, man. Oh, some people got mad, dude. It's pretty hilarious. Some people were angry.
Yeah. Well, hey, listen, before we go any further with stuff, I want to make sure people that's tuning in, make sure you like and share the page, share it with other podcasts. As you know, we trying to make this show big, and we always say, it's really about the viewers. We like people interaction with it, commenting, all that stuff.
Rock and roll, man.
So listen, I shared a video earlier. I want Chris to play it right quick with the Aaron Rodgers comments about the whole thing what Sean Payton said with his comments in Denver. If you can bring that up for me. It was a lot of comments about that this week on different shows and stuff. So it was really like, it got a lot of hits and views and everything else. But I
Big
just really
story
want,
this week, man. Yeah.
Oh, huge story, dude. Huge story.
And Nathaniel Hackett, man. Sean Payton gave it to him.
Yeah, big time, dude. Big time. So anyway, you can bring it down now, Chris. So listen, let's talk. Did y'all hear the comments that people were making and stuff?
I mean, I see Aaron Rodgers definitely been vocal. Some other players, some coaches. I mean, look, dude, Sean, we know how Sean is. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I see both ends of it, Richie. I mean, I think it's a little bit, unfair. Coaches, they do have that camaraderie where you're not supposed to really bash another coach like that.
But my thing is, Dave, people think people are just letting Nathaniel Hackett get away with everything that happened last year.
Hey, Richie, I agree. No, I'm on Sean Payton's side, actually, with this whole thing. I mean, Hackett, hey, if you weren't so terrible as a coach, you wouldn't be hearing this. You set that team back.
Who was Aaron Rodgers prima donna butt trying to take up for anybody?
Exactly.
Aaron Rodgers when he threw the whole Green Bay Packers under the bus.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this dude comes in looking like he's been in a Creed tribute band all offseason. I mean,
what he said.
He cut his hair.
Huh?
You got a fan side of what Payton said, and you got a coach side of what Payton said. I mean, both of it. It's true what he said, but you got to approach it in 2 different ways. If you're a fan, you can say what you want, but if you're a coach, you're in that brotherhood, like Dave said.
Absolutely not. Try that. Really stop that, man.
Hey, Richie, I mean, I agree with Rodgers taking up for his offensive coordinator, and I agree with Payton because guess what? That's who Sean Payton is. Sean Payton's always had that swagger to him. It's not like, what I'm saying? He's not changing for anybody, which makes me, that's the reason we love Sean Payton. What I mean? Even as he's coaching other teams.
You had guys fighting on the locker room, fighting on the sideline, disrespecting Russell Wilson, disrespecting the coach, disrespecting ownership, everything. That was a major, and Sean Payton said it, hit the nail on the head, a major disaster over there.
I mean, I think his players are fired up, and that's all that matters. I mean, who cares about Rodgers and Hackett's feelings at the end of the day? I mean, if the Broncos go to the playoffs, what I'm saying? Hey, all good.
With each other's wives. I mean, we had a mess over here too. So I mean, things happen, dude. I mean, it's people.
Oh, really, Pacho? Really?
I mean, really, Rolf and Joe Horn. I mean, come on, bro.
Come on, bro. You go, oh my God.
Yeah, I hear you. Junior Gillette days, man. Jesus.
But my thing about it is like this. Like Chris, everybody on the show, just so you know, Chris is a Houston fan. It's no big deal. We'd like the Saints too. But Chris, when they fired the guy in Houston, you didn't hear all that rumbling and people talking about Lovie Smith and all that.
Well, no. Nathaniel Hackett, he was horrible. Like, I mean, he was horrible.
Chris is used to this. But Chris is used to this, though. So, it's like he has no attachment to any coach.
That's why I am very, I don't want to say cutthroat with the Saints, but I'm not going to sugarcoat it either. And that's what I love. I have no skin in the game. I know you.
That's why I like your opinion on certain topics, because you're not biased about it. You give your honest opinion.
I think the Saints are on paper extremely, extremely talented, considering where they were the past few years. I think you're in an easy division. I think they're probably going to end up winning that division. I can't.
Listen, we talked about the additions and we talked about all the upgrades. I continue to say it. I'm sorry, and I hope he proves me wrong. I think David Carr is a slight upgrade to Andy Dalton. I'm sorry.
I don't know about slight, man.
Why not?
I mean, look, Richie. I mean, I think Derek Carr. Look,
David, Andy Dalton's numbers in Cincinnati was better than Derek Carr's numbers.
Oh, no, look, I think Andy Dalton's had a nice career. I mean, like, to me, Andy Dalton's not a scrub. I mean, I know a lot of fans were mad last year. I mean, look, it's funny how last year was that, I'm not going to get into it too much, but it was almost like people, started bringing up the Winston thing with Dalton. Dalton was definitely your better option. I mean, he's had the better career, and it's not no offense to Jameis. I'm just saying, but Dalton's not a bad NFL quarterback. This guy's gotten, to the postseason a couple times.
You're dealing with, where he came from. You're dealing with Davis. That's a cluster, dude. How many coaches?
Oh, no, absolutely.
To deal with?
They're one of the worst organizations.
Okay, all right, go ahead, Chris.
And I was going to say too, Andy Dalton had AJ Green in his prime. Derek Carr
had
Cooper for like.
Derek Carr had and Devontae Adams last year.
Yeah, but that's 1 year, Richie. That's 1 year. That's 1 year with him. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
look.
And he got benched.
Yeah, I mean, Darren Waller was a mess last year. Jacobs was good. You had Adams, but that was it. You had no defense,
what I'm saying is you have certain tiers at quarterback in the NFL. And I think Derek Carr is in the third tier of quarterbacks.
I mean,
that's a fair statement.
Yeah,
that 10 to 15 area.
I mean, is he over the top?
To what?
Like that 10 to 15 area. That's where I got Carr. I got Carr in that group with like Kyler Murray. Maybe like a Matthew Stafford.
I do not put Carr a healthy Kyler Murray. I do not put him on Kyler Murray's level.
I don't know. Kyler's got a long way to prove to me. I like Kyler. I do. I really do. But I'm talking
about healthy. I'm not talking about just to throw off the football. I'm talking about all around quarterback. I'm talking about doing everything running.
I mean, Richie, this guy's got pretty good numbers. I mean, Derek Carr's numbers. I mean, I don't know if Chris could pull it up real quick, but I mean, this guy's got a pretty good track record. I mean, I believe what Pancho said to a degree with the Raiders just being such a horrible organization. I mean, you got to give this guy a shot. He's got the most talent around him.
The problem I have, Dave, is this, and this is my problem with Derek Carr. And I'm not, and like I said, don't get me wrong, I'm going to root for him. I'm not one of them guys. I'm a diehard. Right. Y'all know that. But my problem is this: you arguably had the best receiver in football last year and the best running back.
Who?
I don't think Adams is the best receiver in football.
I'm talking about stats last year.
I think Adams may be like in that top 7 or 8, but I don't think he's the best. Dude. Yeah, I got a few receivers. I got Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. Yeah. There's a few guys. I mean, look, I like Devontae Adams. He's a fine football player.
There's the stats right there. There's the stats right there.
No, I mean, stats don't tell the whole story, though. I mean, you got a team where basically Hunter Renfrow was absent last year. Darren Waller was banged up. He didn't do anything.
In one season. I mean,
what's that?
I mean, Winston had 5,000 yards in one season.
No, I mean, stats are a little misleading sometimes.
Take the fatty 316.
But I will say this,
Richie, here's my thing. I think Carr, only time is going to tell if he's a massive upgrade or he's a slight upgrade. I think let him gel with these receivers. I mean, look, Michael Thomas, a lot of the players are excited for Carr. There was a lot of teams pursuing Carr. So that tells me, for one, that we're not, crazy here and going after this guy and making him our franchise quarterback. It's not like we were the only team going after this cat.
But Dave, what I'm getting at is I'm not saying Derek Carr is a bad quarterback. I'm not saying that. But in my opinion, I think he's just a slight upgrade to Andy Dalton. I'm sorry.
I mean,
no. Hey, look, time will tell, Richie. I mean, look, I can see. Look, I can see your argument there. I mean, like I said, I'm disagreeing, but I can see where you're coming from. You know what I'm saying?
I think it's all about a need for a franchise. Because hear me out on this. One of the worst decisions that a franchise made was this year, I think. You know why? The New York Giants should have never gave Daniel Jones that big contract he got.
I think the hard thing is, Richie, though, like quarterbacks, once teams get a taste and they feel that guy could possibly be the quarterback, and they're looking at Daniel
Jones is getting $40 million a year right now, and he threw 13 touchdowns last year.
No, I think, but Richie, here's my thing, and I'm not defending that contract, but I guess they're paying him more for what they expected him to do going forward, because he had nothing at receiver last year. they're very dependent on Barkley and him, and that's about it. Now you add Jalen Hyatt. They got that kid Hodgins who stepped up late last year. It's a little different.
All right,
but I mean, look, I agree, Richie. It's a bad contract. That's way too much money for a guy like Jones, in my opinion. But only time will tell.
Yeah. So with that being said, Richie, let me ask you two questions. If they don't sign Daniel Jones, who's their quarterback? Who do they go after?
Honestly,
yeah,
I think they could have made Jameis Winston off. I think Jameis Winston is better than Daniel Jones. I think Daniel Jones. I think Daniel Jones. Okay. I think Daniel Jones is better. I think Jameis Winston is better than Daniel Jones.
No.
All day long. All day. All day long.
Hey, let me ask you this, Richie. I got to ask you a question, and let me follow up, Chris. I know you had another question.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
All right. So let's say they.
What's up, Jeff?
Let's say they don't take Jameis Winston. Where are they going to go in the draft? Where are they going to get quarterback? They're stuck. Daniel Jones, if it's Winston or a draft pick, because they didn't pick high.
Chris, I get everything you're saying. I told you, I understand what you're saying. Like I said, just what I just said. I said, right situation, you have to do that. They could have franchise tagged them. You could have.
Yeah, but still want to do that with
ultimately, it's a non-factor to us. But again, I mean, is it a truck of the? You can play the what-if game, but I mean, they had so much time and money invested in the cat, and so much. Right. You just can't throw them to the wayside. I mean, you have to keep. You have to stay the course. I mean, you're in a business. If
how do you say that, Pancho?
What do you mean? You have to stay the course.
The Tennessee Titans will waive Malik Willis this year, and they drafted him last year. Watch.
Well, maybe let's put it like so.
I think he hasn't shown enough. I mean, I like Willis, but he hasn't shown enough with opportunity.
So, like, if you put yourself in that situation, how do you, like you say?
The thing about it is with sports, what you're not realizing is this, and I'm not disagreeing with some of the stuff y'all saying, but everybody's worries about what's going to happen after. That's the problem with the NFL. Don't worry about that.
No, but you got to pay somebody for what they're going to do instead of what they've done. That's the way I look at it.
They're seeing his floor. They seen his floor. Yeah. His floor was last year. So obviously they like his floor enough to pay him for his ceiling.
Right. I mean, look, we paid Drew Brees for his ceiling. I mean, Drew was a pretty solid quarterback, but he wasn't Hall of Fame Drew Brees. Drew
should have retired 3 years before the Saints signed. I'm sorry.
I don't know, man. This dude was still putting up numbers, man. I mean, he still was killing it. Look, here's my thing. That the Saints, I think Drew gets a lot of flack for that, Richie. I've seen other podcasts try to talk Drew down, and I think it's insane. I think they're nuts for doing that, and they're just misinformed. But, I mean, you look at his numbers. You can't tell me that Taysom Hill, Jameis Winston, Andy Dalton was going to put up the numbers Drew Brees put up his last 3 years.
Let me tell you.
I mean, it's not even
in my opinion, and I was at the game, Dave. The game that Jameis Winston came in and threw that long pass in the playoffs with the Saints. If Jameis Winston plays that game, the Saints win it.
Well, I mean, you can make the case for Taysom Hill in that Minnesota game.
Exactly.
Well, I get that, but
I think the Saints. I think this Drew Brees. I'm not taking nothing away from him because I believe he's the greatest Saint to ever put a uniform on. But I think the Saints held on to him 2 years too late. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, I think what should have been done. I think the problem was you didn't have that quarterback in the room already. That understudy.
Garrett Grayson right now. That's what.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, they failed so badly on guys like Garrett Grayson. I think if they'd have had the right guy in the room, Richie, I think that would have helped out. But there's no way I'm going Jameis Winston or Taysom or anybody over Drew Brees in the playoff game.
Look at the quarterbacks that are in this league that we could have drafted.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't play that game.
What you mean you couldn't have?
You can't play that game.
There's plenty of quarterbacks who passed on when Drew Brees was here.
But Richie, you got a hand. You dealt it. Your hand's dealt. You can't go back and win it.
I mean, look, Richie, we haven't been close to the playoffs.
Listen to me. This is the issue that us as Saints fans have. And Chris, I know you don't have to worry about this. But the problem is everybody wants to hold on to guys too long because they think they're going to play. It's just like when they bring Jimmy Graham back. That's a waste of a roster spot.
No, that's a waste of money. But Drew Brees was still a top 5 quarterback to the day he stopped playing in the league, in my opinion. I mean, the numbers support it. The wins support it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Jimmy Graham's not even going to probably – look, I mean, hey, I love Jimmy. Great career here, but he may not make the team. I mean, you got a bunch of tight ends on this roster. He might be there as a mentor to Juwan Johnson, and that might be it, you know?
Go ahead, Pancho.
I would have taken Drew Brees' last 2 years rather than our last 2 years.
Absolutely. That's the same with Andy, Jameis, Taysom. I don't care who it is.
Pancho, we're in that. Go ahead, Chris.
you can ask Dave this. I've been a big proponent of saying the Saints should definitely scrap this thing and rebuild and go in and draft a quarterback. Because the problem is you're not going to get a good franchise quarterback way down. You can sometimes. Very rare. But you're not going to get them down picking at 27, 28, 29. You need a top 3, top 5.
Right.
Because
head coach. And you need
because Chris, just like what you just go ahead. Go ahead.
Leave and like that, you want to take that risk?
No, you don't have to take that risk, but there are also guys that are also successful.
David Cole,
Richie, I've said it all along. Hendon Hooker would have been the guy.
What?
Hold on.
I would have been Hendon Hooker all the way this year. I thought he was the perfect understudy.
What about guys like Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow?
Okay, Chris, we could play it. You can't play that game. We could play it.
Oh, you can, because look at where you're at right now.
We can.
I agree with what he's saying. Though, you got a better shot early first round quarterbacks than anywhere else. I mean, you can find them, but
and this is gonna. I know people are gonna hate this. If you were committed right now,
listen, all your greatest quarterbacks of all time, top 10 drafted right now in today's world. Your greatest quarterbacks of all time, where were they drafted? Are they in the top 10?
Let's hold on.
I guarantee you
all your top quarterbacks in the league right now are all in the first round.
Come with me to August 1st, 2023.
Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, all of them.
Take the ride.
Hold on, just listen to me.
I'm listening. Go ahead.
If we today knew the Saints didn't sign Carr, and you went into this season with Dalton, and the team you have right now, I know people are going to hate this. But if you were to lose out the season, come with the worst record, you're guaranteed Caleb Williams. Do you know what that would do? And people are comparing this guy to the next Patrick Mahomes.
Well, you're not guaranteed, though. You're not guaranteed. I mean, because you would have to be the best of the suckers. You get what I'm saying? You would have to be the best of the losers.
That's what I'm saying. Is the Saints would have to.
Listen. And are you willing to blow a whole season for Johnny Manziel?
What?
You knew he was coming with Manziel at some point, Chris.
Come on.
You knew that was coming.
Pancho, are you comparing Johnny Manziel to Caleb Williams?
Well, he is.
He could be, or he could not be.
Hey, look,
Johnny Manziel was the best.
I'm going to sum this up real simple. What happened? I got like 10 seconds that's going to sum up why the Saints did what they did. And I'm going to tell you it's real simple. The reason why they didn't, and dude, I was on podcasts. I mean, I took a little break from the podcast and after Saints and Sinners and everything, but I think we did one, and I was always a belief, hey, let's go ahead and tear this thing down. You could ask Chris. We've talked about this. I've told Pancho. I was very much into tearing it down after last season. But I think the front office looked around at the rest of the South. You got the Panthers, who are going to have a rookie quarterback. They got a good defense. They're a mess on offense. They got a new coach. You got the Bucs. Tom Brady's gone. They got an aging team all around. You got the Falcons, who are intriguing, but they're still in rebuild mode. They're still getting it together. I think if this division, if Tom Brady's like 3 years younger and still playing, the Falcons or Panthers are a little more advanced, I think we would have tore it down. I think they're looking at opportunity. The division's so there for the taking this year and next. Why not go ahead and try to go with what you have and get better rather than doing a teardown? If that makes any sense.
So what do we tear it down? We tear it down. Somebody's going to assume Kamara's $16 million a year contract. No, nobody's assuming that. If somebody
but you have to sometimes tear it down to get it right again.
Assuming that. Is anybody going to assume, these?
What I'm hearing is you're okay with like mediocrity. You like
what are you going to tear down?
The team.
No, but Chris, you got to remember, we tore it down in order to get good. But to begin with,
Pancho, what we're saying is this. This is what we're saying, Pancho. Listen, no. When Drew Brees retired, listen to me. When Drew Brees retired, tear it down. Meaning, let people go. Don't give these big contracts.
Yeah.
Trade Kamara. Free up your salary cap. Trade Lattimore. All that.
Yeah, you could have went that route.
Trade them. When you're saying trade somebody with a substantial amount of – nobody's taking Kamara's $16 million.
Well, let me tell you what, Pancho. Let me tell you what.
Nobody's taking it right now, but I mean –
let me tell you what. We missing the whole big picture because I hate to say it. Within 2 years, Carolina's going to kick our tail. I'm telling you right now.
Richie, look at Atlanta. Look at Atlanta on paper. Atlanta is, to me, could be the best team in the division really soon.
Would you rather be where the Panthers and Falcons are right now compared to where you're at? At least they have the future quarterbacks. You don't.
Yeah, I mean, Yeah, that's a good point, Chris. I mean, look, Atlanta, we can sit there and crap on the Falcons. We make fun of the Falcons, but they're headed in a really good direction. Terry Fontenot built a roster there that's going to be really good really soon. I mean, you look at their offense, Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier. If Desmond Ritter's good, look out because their offense is going to be pretty damn awesome. Defensively, they got better. They took a couple ex-Saints. They got Jeff Okudah. I mean, this is a team that's going in the right direction. So are the Panthers. The only team to me that's going backwards right now is Tampa Bay.
You can have the best weapons in the world. Did you not see Desmond Ritter last year?
What up, Darren?
You can't write the kid off after like 5 games.
8 passes last year. 8 passes in a game last year. He threw 8 passes.
Now, how come you give?
Yeah, but you can't write this kid off on what we saw last year, Fonte.
Now, how come you gonna give Ritter all this grief, but you give Winston the king of the throne?
Thank you. This guy, Winston, gets like 14 years to prove that he's not good. Desmond Ritter has 14 attempts and he's bad.
He's done nothing. Why?
I would love that answer. 9 years, but we don't give this kid 9 games.
Why do you give up on a quarterback?
I didn't say give up on him. I didn't say
you got to let this kid see if he's the guy.
I didn't see nothing that was promising there either. I didn't see.
No, but who did he have? Pancho, Kyle Pitts was hurt. Drake London. That was about it.
Well, let me ask this: Do you see anything promising in Bryce Young?
No, it's like it's like going across the bridge over here.
I'm asking you: Do you see something? Do you see something? Do you see something? I'm asking you. Do you see something promising in Bryce Young?
Oh yeah, I mean,
no, don't say oh yeah. How good? I got Bryce Young in the top 10 within 3 years. At quarterback.
I mean, he's your Tua. Can he stay healthy?
He's a what?
Can his body sustain the
Tua had a lot of injuries in college too.
Yeah, the concussions for Tua has been the big issue.
Exactly.
Bryce Young,
and that could happen to anybody, I guess.
Little guy.
The what?
He's a little bit.
He's a small guy. I see what Pancho's saying. There's concern about his size. And look, it's not easy to be a sub-6 foot quarterback.
Yeah,
when y'all say size, okay, let me get this straight. When y'all saying these quarterback size, there are plenty of quarterbacks in the National Football League that are small.
They got Justin Herbert.
Joe Burrow ain't the biggest quarterback in the world,
solid.
Dude.
He's solid.
He's prototypical size. Like, I mean, you got Josh Allen, Mahomes. They're all bigger guys. Look, Richie, I'm not saying a small guy can't do it. I mean,
I guess so. I mean, anybody stands next to Josh Allen's going to look like Mickey Mouse. I mean, come on.
Right. No, I mean, but I don't put it. I think, like you said, it goes beyond the size. But I see where Pancho has the doubt at. Because to me, Carolina, I don't like the receivers. I'm not wild about Miles Sanders. I love their defense. But, I mean, Bryce Young does have potential. I'm not writing off Ritter off of 1 year. You know what I'm saying? I mean, those teams, look, dude, don't be surprised if those teams, overachieve what we expect out of them this year. Atlanta and Carolina putting together a pretty good roster.
My point was, I seen Atlanta's line last year. When I say, dude, it was something to be imagined. Yeah, you got the Drake Londons and you got the Algiers and you got the Robinsons, but
see, look, even our good friend Darren agrees with me. Bryce Young would be top 10 in 2 years. I said 3. He said 2.
I mean, projection. You can project that. Yeah, I mean, that's a good projection. I mean, but realistically, his body type doesn't.
And look what else he just said. Atlanta can win the division. Really?
Oh, absolutely. I agree with that part of it.
Look at that.
Young.
I mean, come on.
Absolutely. But I don't like Young's. Here's my thing.
Listen.
Why? Here's the thing with Bryce Young. Adam Thielen, Jonathan Mingo, Terrace Marshall. That's not
Pancho,
sexy.
Look, us 3 agree. You don't. We are watching the parade pass us by.
Exactly.
Well, listen, I know we're dealing with older players.
Yeah. Oh no, our window's a little different right now.
You still got a core that some guys you can't get rid of. So
I agree with that. All
right, so if you can't move all of them, then why keep some of them? It's either you're all in or you're all out.
And the Saints went all. I'm agreeing with you. Saints went all in. But when you say, Pancho, when you say all in, you mean division, because you can't possibly think the Saints are going to win the NFC.
I mean,
I think they're a top 3 team or top 4 team in the NFC. I really feel that way.
I've been to games that other teams deserve to win and the other team won. So I
get what you're saying, but do you have the Saints right now on San Francisco's level?
No, not yet.
Dude. Who is?
I'm not saying it can't be Pancho, but not yet.
Come on.
Brock
What
Purdy.
Purdy's got something, dude. Purdy's got something.
But he ain't
I would take Brock Purdy over David Carr right now. I mean, over David Carr right
That's
now.
bold. That's bold. But
Yeah, you're out of your mind right now.
Now, look, I'll say this,
Am
Richie.
I?
Purdy, you know what Purdy
Oh.
is? He's perfect for their offense. He works great with the timing element of Shanahan's
Dave,
offense.
he wasn't
gets
no
to the
game
ball
manager last
quickly.
year. That boy, he wasn't no game manager last year. That boy was slinging the ball.
No, Purdy, but Purdy's not going to be confused with Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, and Patrick Mahomes. He's a finesse guy. He works really good with timing patterns.
Look,
He's
I'm
good
gonna
in
say,
the short pass game, and he's got
and you can
studs
listen.
all around him.
I'm gonna say this, and you can hold me on record. And that's fine. I don't care. And everybody knows I'm a big Mahomes fan and all that. But let me tell you what. Everybody thinks the Kansas City Chiefs are the best team in the league. If the San Francisco 49ers stay healthy, they are the best team by a mile.
I think, Richie, their roster is definitely up there. I'll say that. I like the coach. I like the roster. I mean, it's hard to argue.
Do you realize they already arguably had one of the best defensive lines in the league? Did you see what they just added?
Oh, no, they've got a load of talent everywhere.
That's nasty. That is nasty.
Well, Richie, you know to me what intrigues me? They got yards after the catch guys, and the McCaffrey trade was obviously smart, but they're yards after the catch. Purdy could throw 8 to 10 yard routes all day long. You got a tight end that could get yak. You got Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel. There's a lot of open field guys that could do some damage after the catch. So Purdy doesn't have to fit 20-yard passes into tight windows. He can just run these timing West Coast patterns, and these guys could create all those extra yards for him.
I think you're severely overlooking the Eagles.
The Eagles are going to be right up there.
I think, Chris. I think the Eagles are a top team too, Chris. I'm not disagreeing with that, but I think the Eagles lost a few people that I think are going to make their team a little weaker. That's all.
Yeah. Hey, Richie, their coaching staff. Don't underestimate what they lost in terms of their coaching staff.
Well, when you win big like that, you're going to lose staff.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you lost some key elements. I mean, I know people don't look at assistant coaches talk about.
And Dave, I'm glad Dave brought that up. Good, Chris. I didn't mean I could say my thought, Chris. What you got?
No, I was just going to say. I mean, it all, in my opinion, it ends and begins with the players, of course. And you
see what Chris. I mean, what David just said makes all the sense in the world. The one thing about Sean Payton that I like, believe me, he always surrounds himself with good coaching. Always. Yeah. Coaching is big time at positions. And I'm telling you right now,
look what those guys are doing in Detroit. You know, Dan Campbell and Aaron Glenn. You know?
Yeah, I mean, and look what your boy, look what Rich Wright's doing in Carolina. Yeah. He's putting an experienced coaching staff around his players.
Oh yeah, I mean, look, that assistant. I know people. The average fan will overlook that. You see players, you see your fantasy guys, you know. But look, that coaching staff's a big deal, man. It really is. You know,
big time. I tell you, it's like, oh, man. I don't know. So listen, let's talk about. We've been jumping on the Saints a lot. Let's jump around the league a little bit, Chris. You can tell us a little bit about Houston. You know, other teams. What you think? I mean, I know the injury to Joe Burrow has got the people in Cincinnati down. That's another thing that we need to touch on. How in the hell do you give Daniel Jones that amount of money and Joe Burrow still ain't paid? I don't understand it.
Well,
it's going to happen at some point, dude. Yeah. It's going to happen.
But when?
He's about to get signed.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
But none of y'all, none of y'all think that's a problem.
He was late because there's no rush for him. The money's there.
Right.
He was waiting for that last chip to fall. Now he knows where he needs to be at. Now he will be the highest football player in the league.
No, he's going to get signed. I mean, that guy's.
I'm not saying he's not going to sign, but he should have been signed a long time ago.
I think we look at Burrow because a lot of people are partial to him as an LSU guy, and he's a very likable dude. He's a great quarterback. He's one of the best. But I think that's why we're looking at it that way, like, hey, where's the money at for him? But, you know, you just got to let them do their thing. It'll happen. It's not like he's not going to get paid.
Richie, he's still on a rookie contract.
Yeah, I mean, what
do you want him to do? You want the team to pay him up right now?
Every time I bring it up, somebody has an excuse. I'm not saying what you should do, but other guys around him are getting paid that he's way better than.
They've been in the league longer than him. So they
have not.
Yes, they
Justin Herbert's in the third year of his contract.
All right.
Oh, what?
Is it Joe Burrow in his
contract? It's added on to his rookie contract. He's still
Jalen Hurts just got paid.
I think they're trying to finagle that cap to their face. I mean, I know like a lot of people overlook that cap.
All right, one thing we need to realize, and don't think I'm saying that Cincinnati's letting Joe Burrow go because I don't. What I'm saying is we fail to realize who we talking about here. We're still talking about the Cincinnati Bengals organization, who has never paid anybody.
Boomer Esiason.
I don't. I guess,
Stop.
I guess
Stop.
I'm lost at like, what does it matter?
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, I mean,
You know
Rich,
what
I
it, you know what it, you know what it, you know what it matters.
man.
You know what it matters, and you know what the big picture is. Nobody's saying this, and this is the facts of it. They're trying to figure out a way to sign Joe Burrow, Jamal Chase, and T. Higgins. That's the problem.
Well, I mean, they got to finagle their
What?
cap. I mean, if you're not finagling your cap properly, you can ruin your organization. So, I mean, I think they're trying to make it work, you know, with the numbers.
So you think giving Joe Burrow that big contract that they also can pay?
They're going to lose somebody. You're going to lose somebody. You can't keep everybody. I mean, that's what we had talked in the past on podcasts about that years ago.
T. Higgins is already on record saying he wants to be one of the highest paid receivers in the league.
He's not going to be for Cincinnati.
Right.
I mean,
he'll probably go have.
Well, he's up. He'll probably get a lot of money before Chase is. He's up before Chase.
Richie, you know where T. Higgins should go? He should go to Carolina.
There you go.
He might wind up there.
Yeah, because look, Richie, you can't pay two top 5 receivers and then pay a quarterback $50 million and expect to field a good roster outside of that.
No, you're gonna.
You know what I mean?
You're not going to lose Chase and Burrow.
No, you can keep Tyler Boyd in another year or two, even in his early 30s, and he'll be a serviceable receiver. They already drafted a young kid, I believe, this year. I can't think of his name offhand, but they already started making the moves towards that happening anyhow. You know,
I get it. I get what y'all saying, and believe me, I hear it. I think they're going to eventually pay him, but I think it's a little slight disrespect that they haven't paid him yet.
It's a Trey Hendrickson factor. You already paid Davenport and Cam Jordan. You had them already under contract. I know Davenport's going to get some but you had them under contract and you couldn't afford Hendrickson. It's not like you didn't want to keep the guy who just had 15 sacks. You just can't afford him under the cap. You can't pay 3 defensive ends top tier money.
That's why you draft your quarterbacks in the first round. So you tie them in for the 5 years.
Right.
They can't go anywhere. So you use that to your advantage so you can build a championship team. You can't pay the man in year 3, year 6 money, and you can't build a team that way.
That's why San Francisco traded for Christian McCaffrey. If you had an expensive quarterback at that point, you couldn't afford to give McCaffrey get the trade and give him the extension and pay all these other players. You know, I mean, you gotta be wise with the cap. A good general manager is where it all starts.
Yeah, you can't be like the Saints and be in cap hell.
Right, exactly. I mean, look, and Mickey, like I said, I always says about Mickey, he's not Mickey's great at making the numbers work, but Jeff.
But the thing about it is, Dave, who's Cincinnati paying right now? Because Jamal Chase is still on his rookie deal. T. Higgins is still on his rookie deal. Who are they paying?
Henderson,
you know, away from the Super Bowl. What is it?
Trey Hendrickson just signed a 1-year deal.
Are you sure about that? I thought he's
1 year deal. 1 year.
He was making some pretty good cash.
1 year deal. 1 year deal he signed.
What he's making it because Trey's got to be making some serious money. He's got to be.
Trey signed a 1 year deal this year. Yes.
Yeah, but he's got to be in a $15 to $20 million area. Trey Hendrickson.
I don't know where it's at, but I'm saying who else are they paying?
Can we pull it? No, I mean, but there's other players on the team. I mean. You know, it's just
all you do is NFL salary cap.
Joe Mixon. I mean, Joe Mixon. You got Tyler Boyd. You know, Chase.
They gave Joe Mixon a friendly deal, dude.
Well, they redid his deal a little bit. Yeah, they redid that because I mean they're trying to make these moves with the preparation for Burrow.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you right now. In 4 or 5
I'd have to look at their roster, but like you said,
they're gonna have a new Jets owner, right? He's gonna be Porsche owner, and his name is gonna be Aaron Rodgers. You just don't take a $35 million cut just for the hell of it. I promise you that.
That is surprising. When we talk about real money, but man, he took real $35 million cut.
Let me ask y'all this: How do y'all feel? How do y'all feel about this Jets team, man? Are y'all buying the Jets right now or what?
Go ahead, Chris.
Are y'all buying the Jets?
Hold on,
right this second.
Hold on. Let's get back to Trey Hendrickson. He's making a cap salary of $15 million right now.
Yeah, that's what I figured, somewhere 15 to 20.
And the second is Jonah Williams,
offensive lineman. Yeah.
But no, the Jets, not me. I'm over the Aaron Rodgers hype. I don't. Nah.
So you're not buying, huh, Chris?
No, I think their team is really good. Mm-hmm. I think they just missed a big opportunity, and it sucks because they had Zach Wilson, and he's just not the guy that they thought they were. But
right.
I think Aaron Rodgers gives you a year or two to flirt with the wild card, and then you're going to have to go back for a quarterback. So that's 3 years. So now you've got all those players, Breece Hall and all those guys.
Yeah.
Now,
again, it's the
third, fourth year.
It could be the LeBron effect, all right? It could be shit, not so good at first, and it can get really good, or it can go just completely bad. You can't just slap a bunch of pieces against the wall and hope they all stick. Something's gonna give.
Yeah.
But again, it could fall apart the first 3 games, and all of a sudden just catch fire. I mean, you do have is Aaron Rodgers the greatest player of all time? Absolutely not. I don't think he's that. I mean,
I still think he's a top 5 quarterback, though. I will say that. I still got him in there.
No. Mm-mm.
And I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why. 2 years ago, he was MVP. Last year, his starting receivers were rookies. He had Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, and Alan Lazard as a 3. He had no tight end play whatsoever last year. And look at his numbers. They're still pretty damn good. This guy, give him Garrett Wilson, Corey Davis, Breece Hall, Izzy Abanikanda. I like the tight end Conklin. Better offensive line over there because Green Bay's offensive line was
how many
season long last year.
How many weapons do you need though, Dave?
I think he's got more weapons in New York than he had in Green Bay last year for sure. I think it's not even close. Garrett Wilson's superior to any receiver that's on that Green Bay roster. I would say Corey Davis maybe as well as far as his veteran, situation. Christian Watson has potential, but I would take Corey Davis right now. I think Breece Hall, the running back of Anaconda, watch out for that kid from Pitt. The defense, man, dude, you have Sauce Gardner, Mosley. There's a lot of talent on the defensive side of the ball. I'm buying the Jets. I'm not thinking they're Super Bowl material, but they're 10-win wild card material for me. And I think Rodgers, I'm telling y'all, Rodgers has a huge year this year, and I think Russell Wilson bounces back as well. I think people have a short memory. It's easy to say, hey, this is going to carry over into the following season because those guys were maybe mediocre or above average. I don't buy it. I think Rodgers bounces back. I think Russell Wilson with Sean Payton bounces back.
Yeah. Would you go ahead, Chris?
Oh, I disagree. I think Aaron Rodgers, he had Devontae Adams when he was in his prime, and they didn't win not a World Series, a Super Bowl.
I mean, he's got one ring. He's got a ring.
That's my problem. That's my problem I had with Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers. Is they considered all kind of greats, but had all the talent in the world around them, but couldn't do anything. Of course, my friend Bobby's going to say, "Go Pack, go."
We should have been to the Super Bowl that we didn't. That wasn't because of Drew Brees. I mean,
right. That's what I'm saying. A lot of people.
I mean, again, we're playing the what if game. The what if game, you can't play it, but you can play it. We were there. I mean,
right. I think people. What I think is going on here is that people don't realize a quarterback should make his team better no matter what's around them.
No, but Richie, I think the problem is we get so caught up in what Mahomes and Brady are. It's not easy to win multiple Super Bowls. I mean, Dan Marino won 0. You know what I'm saying? I mean, a lot of guys said one ring.
You brought up Mahomes just now. They sent Mahomes' best receiver packing.
No, I mean, Mahomes is the best quarterback of all time.
And they won the Super Bowl.
I'm putting that down right now. I think he'll be the best of all time.
I get what you're saying. They sent his best receiver packing, and they won the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, look what he does. I mean, he's that good. But look, Drew Brees did similar things though. I mean, Marcus Colston was hurt some years. Brees stepped it up. I mean,
Brandon Cooks packing. That was Brees' best.
Yeah, receiver. I mean, Brandon Cooks. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
I agree. That's what I'm saying. Drew Brees made a team. Drew Brees made the team Saints look a lot better than what they were on offense.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I'm agreeing with Chris, meaning I think Aaron Rodgers is a little bit overrated.
Right now.
I mean, he's not a likable guy. I mean, he comes off as a total douchebag, but the guy's a phenomenal player.
I don't care about what you do.
Dave, how can you say that when he's not clutch in the big moments?
I mean, look, dude, his numbers, dude, are just hard. I mean, look, it's not like this guy doesn't get to the postseason.
He left Green Bay because they couldn't put pieces around him. They wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I mean, they ran that organization horribly the last few years.
Devontae Adams, they got rid of. I mean,
stop it. Aaron Rodgers held Green Bay hostage. That's what the problem was.
It was a weird relationship, Richie. I don't know which side I side with.
The same guy that complained about Brett Favre did the exact same thing Brett Favre did.
I think Drew Brees is knocking on the door right now. Let me let him in.
I don't like the Broncos either. I don't like Russell Wilson and Sean Payton. I don't think they're going to come in and do anything spectacular. I think Russell Wilson.
I mean, would they win last year, Chris? 4 games though. I mean, they're to me at least doubling that win total. At least.
I mean, Sean Payton's going to give you that.
Yeah, Sean Payton will get you 3 or 4 wins with that roster alone. I mean, you went from one of the worst coaching jobs in history, like Sean said, he's right, to one of the top coaches of his era.
Patrick, let me ask you something. Let me ask you. You keep saying Sean Payton this and Sean Payton that. What did Sean Payton do after Drew Brees retired?
I'll say this, Richie. He got a winning season out of that roster and that was a pretty much like a great coaching job in itself.
You're
I
playing.
mean,
let me tell you.
I'm talking. What I'm saying, Dave, from start to finish, what did he do when Drew Brees retired?
no, I mean, what were we 9? We won 9 games. I mean, to me, I understand that's not sexy, but man, you had a roster. You were very unsettled at quarterback. I'm not going to knock Jameis or Taysom or anybody, but you had a lot of holes in that team. Michael Thomas was hurt. I mean, let's be real. There was a lot of problems there.
I've realized one thing in the last 2 or 3 years. This is a quarterback-driven league.
Absolutely.
And I don't care who you and I don't care who your coach is.
I've been knowing that since back Mark Rippon was throwing the football.
So the Broncos. Let me tell you about your boy Sean Payton. He's going to have to face the Chiefs twice.
Yep.
Oh no, he's gonna have a hard schedule, no doubt.
Twice.
No doubt.
That's 4 games right there that are going to be very difficult. Now the Raiders.
Yeah. Oh no, they got their work cut out for them, Chris. I
But
just
let me
think they'll
tell
be
you
a lot
what.
better than they were.
But Dave,
Dave,
you talked about the Jets' strength of schedule. The Jets have the hardest schedule there is in the NFL, man.
Dude, that AFC East is not going to be pleasant, dude. I mean, look, New England's not going to. They're going to be probably the last place team there, and I don't think New England's going to be a total pushover.
If Denver was a 4-win game team last year, why is Sean Payton
5-12.
So why Sean Payton just wouldn't let it suck for 1 year and go into the lottery with Caleb?
Why
That's
would
an interesting scenario.
You there? You're like, listen, this is the roster I have.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, it was a 5-win team last year. Like, I got to work with there's a turnover there.
Yeah.
Pancho, what do you think the real reason is why Sean Payton left New Orleans?
I mean, again, he needed a break, a fresh start, and then the pieces didn't fall into place. He didn't prepare himself for the future.
So you think he needed a fresh start?
You're not a shit team, dude. Like, you can go look at some of these teams. You're like, dude, you can't do nothing with that. Like, you got pieces here. Like, I mean, obviously, I mean, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, Richie, I'm not mad with him. I mean, the man, it's not like he just walked out on us after a few years. I mean, this guy gave us 15 years of his life, gave us our best era of football.
Think about how bad, but the Saints should have won more because think about how bad our division has been the last 3 years.
No, look, I agree, Richie, but you had Tom Brady here too, though.
I mean, listen, you could Sean Payton, Marvin Lewis. I mean, you would take Sean Payton over Marvin Lewis's years.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, Pancho, but you don't seem to understand what I'm saying is how much dramatically the Saints changed when Drew Brees retired.
Oh, obviously, it's Drew Brees.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, losing Brees and Payton, if anybody
didn't say that. Then say Sean Payton is going to have a hard time winning without Drew Brees. Didn't just say that.
No, I don't think he's gonna. I'm not saying he's gonna win a Super Bowl, but like y'all said, y'all made the point. You're in a division with the best quarterback on the planet, and you got an up and coming team with the Chargers. I think they're in a very difficult division.
Well, let me give you an example. Kyle Shanahan, listen to me.
Tom Brady and said, "Look, bro, I'm rolling out."
I get what you're saying, but let me hear me out. Kyle Shanahan in San Francisco has went through how many quarterbacks in the last 5 years? But guess what? They continue to win.
I think they have a system in place. I mean, let's be real. They drafted really well. They had really great defenses, and they've got look. They're a good front office. I mean, John Lynch knows what he's doing over there. I think he's put together quite a roster.
Peyton's lingo is probably some of the most difficult lingo in the league, and it's not a standardized West Coast offense. Like West Coast offense, you get that in college. That's what they run. Like it's standardized lingo. Like Sean Payton is just some, he runs his system. There's a system, the Bill Parcells system, but it's there.
But what I get at over here is what I'm saying, Pancho, is with Sean Payton. Sean Payton does this. He did it with Greg Williams. He did it with Dennis Allen. He said, you know what? I want to run this over here, and y'all take that. Y'all run the defense. I don't want no part of that. And to me, a head coach don't do that.
No, I think a lot of them. I mean, if you got faith in your defensive coordinator, I mean, look, the best defensive coordinators, I mean, in the history of the game, they were allowed to do what they wanted to do because they were that good. I think if you got a great defensive coordinator, you got to let him do his thing. And the head coach has to stay. Go
ahead, Chris. Go ahead.
I was going to say, that's interesting because I'm going to bring in a little Houston in here, but the offensive coordinator for Houston, who's Bob Slowick, that came from the 49ers, he's calling the offensive plays. Miko Ryans is calling the defensive plays. Although they have a defensive coordinator. But I would rather have DeMeco Ryans, who's a minded coach.
That's his specialty, absolutely.
Another thing is like Sean Payton, who are some of the big offseason signings under Sean Payton that we acquired and threw contracts at? How did them guys fare? The Jairus Birds.
Well, there was a lot of people they signed they shouldn't have. That's
Right.
That's
Right.
on Peyton.
They made some bad choices. Jarris Bird, Brandon Browner.
I mean, Mickey made the deal, but it was Sean's people that he was signing the deal with. So there's some really Jason David was under Hazlitt, right?
I think he was. Oh goodness! I think he was Hazlitt, if I'm not mistaken. When he was there,
look.
That's a good question.
Let me. We all listen. We all have friends inside the organizations, but don't make no mistake about it. There were several people in the Saints organization that were happy to see Sean Payton go.
I don't know.
I mean, look. Here's my thing. You downgraded. No offense to Dennis Allen, but you definitely don't have the same caliber of a head coach right now.
I agree with you 1,000%. The coach that the coach the Saints should have went after was Doug Peterson.
No, absolutely. I mean, look, Peterson's a heck of a coach. He turned Jacksonville around. I would have loved to see Dan Campbell and Aaron Glenn running this team before Dennis Allen and Pete Carmichael. You know what I'm saying?
I thought y'all should have went after the Eagles offensive coordinator this past
year.
That was who I wanted.
If Dennis Allen doesn't make the playoffs in this, if he doesn't win this division, I think he's going.
Oh yeah,
listen. My friend Lance said Kyle Shanahan made Matt Ryan an MVP in 2016.
Oh, Shanahan's one of the best play callers in the history of the league, in my opinion, dude.
Don't put on Matt Ryan here. Matt Ryan's he was a good quarterback.
Yeah, he was a damn good. Yeah, we joke on him, but he's had a career. Absolutely,
he's had a damn good career. Kyle Shanahan. Great.
So listen. Before I forget, y'all, I want to share a flyer I sent earlier. If you would, Fatty, can you put it up there for me? It's my NOFA organization. You know, I want to make sure people know that you can make donations. I'm a member for them, and you know, it's a good cancer organization. It's a nonprofit, and they do a lot of good. Thank you, and they do a lot of good. If you see, they're asking for donations, and look, when I tell you. This is my first year as a member, and I tell you, these people, nobody makes a salary. Everything goes to the heroes. I mean, look, everybody donates their time for absolutely free. So please share the link. I just put up, if you can, go like the NOFA page. You know, do me a favor on that. Because, look, it does good, trust me. And I appreciate that. Thank you, Fatty. I appreciate that.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff.
So listen, guys, look, we're gonna go. This season's gonna be fun with everybody. We're all gonna go on remote locations sometimes too to do the show live. And we do have another member of our group. He wasn't able to make it tonight, Nathan Murphy. He's another member of us, of the staff over here. So guys, what do y'all think? What do you think the season's gonna bring this year?
I went to look at the over under on the books today. It's 9.5. So I mean, obviously, I'm saying obviously, but I would definitely pick the over at 9.5. I mean, we're borderline 11-win team, I would say.
Yeah, I'd say 11-6.
And that's coming from a man that's not biased, Chris. Oh, look at that.
I'll agree.
You say 11-win team?
Yeah.
Yeah, just on paper alone right now. I mean, are you taking Michael Thomas over Drake London? Yeah, on paper you are. Now, this is paper. I'm not saying once week 1 happens, week 2 things start shifting around.
Yeah.
Right now, I think their 11 wins is doable.
You think that's what you're sticking with?
Mm-hmm.
I still think it's Philadelphia, San Francisco, and the Saints, top 3 teams in the NFC. With Dallas, with Dallas coming in 4. That's just me.
It's possible, man. I mean, look, Richie, I think the biggest question I have for this team is, I would say offensive line and defensive line, which is weird because it seems like it's been so good in those areas over the years. I think Carr's going to help the passing game. Thomas being healthy, Olave. The offense has got talent. You beefed up the running back depth, which was a problem last year. Secondary is one of the best in football, in my opinion. Linebackers have money. But depth up front, man, you can't really afford an injury to Cam Jordan right now or Ryan Ramczyk on the other side. That's the one thing I worry about is just depth on both sides of the line. You know, but other than that, I mean, on paper, there's 10 or 11 wins there for this team.
Go ahead, Pancho. Go ahead.
No, it's definitely, I see 11 wins. I mean, if something's got to fall apart. If not, I mean, it could go horribly wrong and Dennis Allen be fired in the middle of the season. I don't think that. Mickey is not that guy. Mickey is a brotherhood guy. I mean, I've had dealing with Mick. I don't see him cutting Dennis Allen, but a make or break year for who Dennis Allen. It really is. I mean,
yeah. You give it a layup right now with Tampa's situation, 2 rebuilding teams that are very young. So I mean, if you can't make it happen with this roster in that division, you're going.
But I think, like you said earlier, Dave, I truly believe that Atlanta's going to give us a run for our money.
Atlanta's going to be a good team. Look, dude, man, they're going to run the football down people's throats. Tyler Algier averaged 4.9 yards a carry, 1,000 yards as a rookie. Then you go draft Bijan Robinson. Kyle Pitts is going to be healthy again. Drake London. Yeah, man, they're putting together a pretty good team. And Ritter, I agree with Pancho. Ritter is the question mark, but it all depends on that kid for me right now, and how good they can be.
Well, look, Bobby Truly just put the Saints go 500. Bobby, just so you know, it's impossible to go 500.
yeah.
I hear you, man. Look,
you even have the winning season or losing.
Well, Richie, here's my thing. I think you have a defense that's going to take advantage of some young quarterbacks in this division, and then whoever wins the Trask Mayfield matchup. I think this is one thing I think the Saints have better than anybody else. I think they have 3 cover corners that are better than any trio in football, and I think that's going to cause some problems.
I'm going to give you a predicament that Dave's going to love. I say they're going to use Taysom probably 18 to 20% more in their offense than what they're using now. You can see him in I formation.
I think you got to use Juwan Johnson a lot more.
You're going to see Taysom in I
both
formations at the the halfback position, and he might go crash back block, or he might just throw it over the top.
Go ahead, Chris.
I agree. I like that.
I mean, he can stretch. You can throw to him. He can stretch all the way to the end line, and either cut up field or throw the ball. So
go ahead, Chris. He was like
cornerback safety is held at gunpoint because he can take off at any point in time if he's out there.
I agree with Ponce on this. Oddly enough, but I think Taysom Hill needs to be on that. He needs to be on that field
somehow.
Listen,
either decoy or he's a weapon.
They're going to get every bit of the $11 million that they paid him each year. They're going to get it out of him this year.
Is he not your best open field runner? That's my thing right there. I know Rashid Shaheed's the fastest guy in my opinion, but is he not your most dangerous open field runner?
James Washington said he's arguably one of the fastest guys on the field.
Yeah.
James Washington saying that himself.
He is.
So he's saying
even if he doesn't touch the ball, Poncho, I agree with you. He still scrambles the offensive coordinator's mind because you don't know what you're going to do with the game.
Right.
I'm not big on the gadget guy. I'm sorry. I've never have been. I think you line up and play football. I'm sorry.
Now, Richie, here's my thing, Richie. I've heard that from another podcast down the road. This other podcast was saying the same thing. They said it's getting stale and getting old. Here's my thing. If you didn't have Taysom Hill the last 2 years, you have one of the worst 3 offenses in the league.
Let me tell you this.
I'm not disagreeing. I think you can use Taysom Hill, but I don't think you have to use him as a guy. I don't think you have to.
Because you had a very vanilla offense
what I mean by what I mean by that is you don't have to use trick plays to use Taysom Hill. Just line him up.
No, you can. You can certainly put him up as a tight end. He can block somebody. Like Pancho said, run him in the eye, let him run. Obviously, he completes 60-some% of his passes. And I'm not trying to make a pitch for the quarterback thing, but let's be real. He was very good throwing the ball last year in those limited opportunities. So, you got all these options with him. And like Chris said, it's a defensive coordinator's nightmare because you don't know how to play him.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I did. I said offensive. I should have said defensive. First of all, the guy scored like 3 touchdowns last year in a game. The dude's dangerous. Who else has a gadget player like Taysom Hill?
That's what I'm saying. You have something that nobody else has.
Nobody in the inside. Nobody.
Well, there was some like last year with 1 yard left. 1 yard to go. You should have used Taysom. You don't throw a ball.
He's a cheat code from inside the 3-yard line. Yeah.
Look, I'm gonna tell you what. I think a guy that's going to improve this year, just to talk about different players. I really think Kenny Pickett's gonna develop very well.
Yeah, I like Pickett. Yeah, I like that. I like him and George Pickens on that offense, man. I think that's gonna be a nice combination.
I think you know what? I think we would all agree on this. There is a lot of young talent in the NFL right now.
Hey, Richie, I'm gonna throw a guy at you too who I like, and nobody talks about this guy. And maybe I'm partial because he's on one of my fantasy teams, but I like Sam Howell a whole lot, man. I think he's gonna surprise some people in Washington. And I know he's going up against Jacoby Brissett, so he's going to have to win that battle. But I think Sam Howell is – I'm telling you, man, go back to this kid in North Carolina a couple of years ago. He was supposed to be one of the top 3 quarterbacks coming out. He had a little bit of a stumble late in his career in North Carolina. He fell in the draft. But did you watch that start against Dallas? Mm-hmm. That guy was money, dude. He is a dangerous threat running as a quarterback.
I'm going to tell you something. I'm glad you brought it up, but I didn't want to say it because I was going to save it for the next show. There are a lot of rumblings that Washington's going to trade Terry McLaurin this season.
Could happen, man. They got that young receiver. What's his name?
Dotson.
And you got Curtis Samuel.
There's a lot of rumbles on that.
Yeah.
I hope Houston's all over that.
Hey, Houston. Hey, Chris, that's your guy right there, dude. I'd be on that if I was y'all.
Well, listen, guys. Oh, look.
Huh? What did Pancho say?
Now, see if there's a Lamar Miller out there still.
Who's that? Lamar Miller?
Lamar Miller. Good night. Good night.
Lamar Miller.
That's a ooh, man. That's a whole nother subject.
That's a dirty language around here.
Right here. That's the only running back in Texan history that matters.
I think I'm gonna wear my Aaron Brooks jersey next weekend.
There you go.
I still got it.
Why?
I still got it.
For what?
That's the second best quarterback in Saints history. I'm just saying.
Hey, look, Richie. I defended Brooks to the end, bro. I was with you on that. And look, he is. There's no question in that. He is the number 2 guy behind Breeze, up to down.
Wait a minute. He cannot be the number 2 greatest.
Oh, it's sad,
that's how bad.
True.
That's how bad we were at quarterback. My goodness.
Yeah. Look, Aaron Brooks. We crap on him, but he had a few really stud years over here, man. Before all the craziness happened.
Hold on, I've got to look this up. That can't be true.
Bobby,
no, dude.
He's Bobby. I don't know. I think Bobby.
Lance, put that up there, Fatty, for me. Put that comment up on Lance.
That's a good poll question, Richie. Have that as a poll question next time out.
Look at that.
Hold on.
Look at that.
When you talk about an organization that had Billy Joe Hobart,
hopefully we can trade Pete Carmichael to the DUI. Did you see that, Dave? Hopefully, Lance Foltz just put. Hopefully, we can trade Pete Carmichael to the Broncos.
Oh, God, we need to deport Pete Carmichael. Dude, Pete Carmichael has got to be better, dude. He was awful last year calling plays. You felt Sean Payton's absence last year.
What'd you say, Chris? What'd you say?
Not up there?
Listen, that's a story for another day. That's a story for another day for me. Yeah. That's a story for another day.
Archie was a folk hero based on that college run, and he didn't have a lot to work with here.
Listen, look, here's the story behind this, Chris. What I say about Aaron Brooks. Listen. This is why I say this, and when I say he was the best, listen, you can say what you want. The only reason I was an Aaron Brooks fan was I was there when they won their first playoff game, and it meant a lot to me. That's all. Yeah. After all them years of suffering, and listen, he was throwing to guys. He was throwing to the 4th receiver, Willie Jackson.
Hey, Richie, when he wasn't overthinking it early in his career, and he was just going on instinct, that kid was pretty. I think in today's game, he would be a lot better now. I mean, he had a good little run, and then the wheels fell off. You know.
Yeah, you're right. Well, listen,
I don't know what happened to that kid. I don't know if he just started overthinking things, but he lost his confidence and it just went down south.
Yeah, better than Aaron Brooks. Though.
Yeah. So well, listen, go ahead, Pancho. Go ahead.
Give me that shout out to Richie's Business, Limitless DJing. If y'all need
Limitless Entertainment, man.
Entertainment. Now you're entertainment. You was DJing.
I know, but it's Limitless Entertainment. We go corporate, man.
There you go.
We partially sponsored by some 504 Paints.
504 Paint. Make sure y'all go like the page, man.
Yeah,
I tell you that all the time.
On, wax off.
Got some of the best paint around. Don't listen to the other guys.
Absolutely. And listen, y'all don't forget to go like the NOFA, No One Fights Alone page, Louisiana. Absolutely. It's a great organization. Listen, thank you. Right? Yes, next Tuesday, same time, 8:00. Dave, thank you. Chris, thank you. Pancho, thank you. Listen, sign off and listen, Fatty 316. Thank you for producing the show for us. If you wouldn't mind, play our intro video out.
Bayou Geeks. What is
Listen, it's the Bayou Geeks. Listen, share it on the page. Make sure you share it in comments, Fatty, on that. Y'all go like the Bayou Geeks page, man.
What they talking about?
Do it. Go ahead, Chris.
Astros are in the top of the ninth.
Yes, right, baby. Here we go, baby. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.